A 2-2 draw here at Carshalton. Hayden, for the second Saturday in a row, that feels like a decent performance, but quite frustrating to come out of that game with a draw.
Absolutely, I agree with you. It was a very decent performance. I think before the game, with two teams that are fighting, I think ultimately to get promoted, you would come here and accept a point. Of course, the dynamics of the game, when you're 2-0 up, it makes it more difficult to accept a point. Tactically, the players didn't quite get it right today. I think at times when I wanted them to press, they sat off. They just needed to be a little bit braver, and I think if you're a little bit braver, you maintain that clean sheet. But, you know, what was really good is that when it went to 2-2, we've all seen teams that I've managed, I'm sure you've seen Kingstonian teams in the past that then capitulate and lose. Fantastic character from the players to dig in to make sure we got at least a point, and even then could have scored again.
Yeah, I mean, when you mention the stuff that the players didn't do tactically, are you talking about that period of time from basically our second goal to their second goal, where the game kind of got away from us, or was that the whole afternoon?
I thought we did very, very well in periods without the ball. If you look at the first 20 minutes of each half, I thought we were absolutely on point. And when you play a team not with the ball, which they are, you have to be. But we completely controlled the game and we're deserving of our goals. I felt that having scored in the first half, the last 20 minutes of the second half, we let them ask questions of us just because we conceded too much territory. And instead of the strategy of really pressing and getting them head down and forcing them sideways and backwards, we were allowing them to play forward too easily. We addressed that at half time. I thought in the second half, the first 10 minutes was perfect. The way we did it was perfect. And you know, again, you would think, well, okay, it's 2-0 now, maybe we win by more. Certainly you couldn't see them scoring, but I think we set off again. Goals change games, and we've all been there, haven't we? They get the pendulum swings, we're in control, they score one, and that gives them hope. But I don't want to criticise anybody today.
How frustrating though is it to concede that equaliser immediately after you've made a double substitution that, from the look of the personnel brought on anyway, was to give us a bit more stability?
Yes.
And then suddenly you concede, and then suddenly the team that you put on to defend the lead has suddenly now got to go and try and regain the lead.
Yeah, really frustrating. But of course, it's football; these things happen. You're absolutely right. The players were brought in, to just stabilise us. So obviously, Tom Kavanagh is a different dynamic to someone as Dan Bennett and someone as a Reece. But the changes were to make sure that we started to control the middle of the pitch again. And of course, what Youssef does is that he gives you a dynamic both defensively and offensively, because if you're flying at us, you're leaving open spaces for Youssef in his pace to really attack. Something that worked very well against Western, I thought. And again, it could have worked today. I thought Youssef at one point was going to score when he cut in his left leg. So what I would say is, as disappointed as I am, it really does show how far we're coming, that we've come to Carshalton, and we're disappointed that we haven't got 3 points. I think that's probably the best way to look at it.
One you faced on the side today, Harry Osborne, who seemed to be everywhere, to be honest. How pleased were you with his performance, and what can you tell us about him?
Really pleased. Harry, I'm reluctant to say he's a Merstham player, but he was a Merstham player. He signed for me at the start of last season, having returned from Sweden. He was an academy player at Crystal Palace, briefly then playing for Welling. Really good footballer, really fits into my dynamic. And I think he's someone that will really help us move forward. Physically, very, very strong, very good in the air. But you can play him at centre half, you can play him at right back, and you've got technically a really, really good player again. So again, it's another step forward into moulding Kingstonian into really what I want from Kingstonian, and creates the competition that we need to move forward.
What does this signing tell us about the fitness of Simon Cooper and Sean Clarsey?
Yeah, it tells us that they're not ready. Simon, I think, will probably be 3 weeks, maybe more, as I said. Sean was a little bit touch and go today, whether he could play or not. So there's a possibility Sean will be able to come back into contention on Wednesday. And the reason he didn't play today is just because if there is a slight issue with the knee and the stability of the knee, probably it's better trying it at home on grass rather than on the Astro. So for that reason, and also the same was for Tom Kavanagh. It's a good Astro, don't get me wrong, but nonetheless less forgiving. So thinking ahead of the team today, I thought tactically it was the right team to pick, but also having an eye on fixtures coming up, it was probably wise to see that those players were going to be in the best possible condition for Dartford.
You mentioned the fixtures coming up. Is it an annoyance to have a Surrey Senior Cup game on a Wednesday before an FA Cup game, and actually more so that we've got a Youth Cup game the same night, so it's not like we want to be giving young players the chance to play on Wednesday? Was there ever a thought to try and get the Knaphill game moved back?
Actually, no. I understand the question. I understand why you asked the question. But there's two ways of looking at that game. The first way of looking at it is that tactically it will be a great training session for what we're going to do against Dartford. And I don't mean that in a condescending way to Knaphill, certainly no disrespect. But the other way that I'm looking at this, and I've just spoken to the players in the dressing room, you know, Kingstonian are not a club that have been awash with trophies in recent seasons. And this is a trophy we can win.
You saying we can't win the FA Cup?
Well, I think to get to the first round proper would be the equivalent. The League Cup and the Surrey Senior Cup are trophies that we're going to go all out to win. So the team will be strong. The team will have a good attitude to the game, and I have a big ambition. Obviously, it's a competition that I like. It's a competition that I've done well in personally, and I've said from the start I want to bring trophies to Kingstonian. The League Cup and the Surrey Senior Cup are trophies that would go all out to win.
Do you take it as a compliment that your opposition manager for next Saturday is here rather than watching his team today?
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I was surprised that Steve was here. I knew he was coming. I found out yesterday. And I think it is a compliment. And I think it is indicative of the progress that Kingstonian are making now. That, as I say, we've come here, we've drawn 2-2, the dressing room, you go into the dressing room, you'd think we would have lost. You know, we're moving forward collectively, the team are united, and we think that there's a great building block here to really move forward, both short and long term. So it's exciting, and you know, we're just going to continue to work hard, give the supporters a team that will fight for Kingstonian, and hopefully continue to progress.
Indeed. Well, big week of cup action coming up then. All the best, and we'll see you Wednesday and Saturday. Next stop, well, not Dartford, Knaphill first. Dartford via Knaphill, perhaps. We're on a bus, in case you haven't noticed.
Going to Dartford and Knaphill.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see them.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.